Hello and everybody, and welcome to my next video. And if you saw my post a few days ago, I put something on there regarding an alarm system and the different zones of an alarm system. So you had a little sneak peek as what I was working on. Well, I'm pleased to say that it's now ready for me to upload and show you the video of what it is and how to use it. Now, let's step back a bit. Now, with a traditional alarm system, we've got usually two modes. We have a full mode and a part mode, where you can define, predefine the different zones that you want in each mode. We've also got the ability to omit a zone as, like a temporary measure. So if you had, say, I don't know, guests coming in and staying in one of the guest rooms or something, and it's normally armed as part of the alarm, well, we can then omit that. Now, when it comes to the Fibaro alarms, it's not that straightforward to do. Now, a while back, you did see me showing you the alarm interface on the Fibaro thing. However, that's the issue, is on the fly, we can't make any of these adjustments. So what that means is we just have to log in, manually do all that stuff on the desktop. So, manually do everything on the desktop like this before we can make any changes. So what I'm going to show you is my own custom made solution. So I've been testing and developing this for the last couple of weeks. You saw my sneak peek of the app a few days ago, 10 days ago I think. So here I'm now going to show you the whole thing in action and working. So what I've done to make things a little bit quicker on this video, I've actually just done all the installations and everything. Now all code will be available to download and all the QuickApp, but I will show you how to do that at the end of the video. So what do we have to do? Well, first things first, you click on the settings, click on alarm and create a zone. So you just click on add zone. Any name, it doesn't really make a difference here. You can even put the name alarm in or whatever and just select any sensor. It doesn't make a difference, as we're not going to be, we just needed a template, and we especially need this ID number that we're going to be using. So we'll make a note of this ID number 2. Then we're going to click on general variables, and we're going to create a variable called alarm. So we're just going to click on add variable, type the word alarm in, and for a value initially you can just set it to off. Okay, so here it is, alarm off. Okay, and that's it. So that's my variable created. Okay, that's done. The reason we do this is because in future, if you ever wanted to run any scenes and those scenes are dependent on the status of the alarm, well, that's what this variable is for. When we set the alarm, we can then tell Fibaro that yes, we are in a state of armed, or if the alarm is off, and therefore we can then use them in other scenes. For example, I don't know, sensor scenes for cameras or heating scenes, etc. Okay, you don't have to use it right now, but at least it's there for future reference. The next things we're going to do, we're going to start creating our initial scene. So our first scene is going to be called alarm partition. So on the downloads, you will see a file called alarmpartition.lua. If you have a Windows machine, use Notepad++. If you have a Mac, use VSC, Visual Studio Code. To open the file, then just copy and paste. So here we have got our scene. So let me just make this bigger. So big there. Now let's start from the top. Local partition ID, ID2. So I've put this as ID2 is because it's the ID of the alarm ID that we created in our alarm panel. So that stays fixed. Arm delay. Here, you can specify how long you want the arming delay to be. Generally speaking, 30 seconds. So this particular client wanted 30 seconds, so we put 30 seconds. Breach delay is none. Sensors we leave blank because we're going to auto-populate them. The name. what you want to call this alarm. Remember I put YA initially? Well, I've already put that just to show that we can change it. So I'm just going to put here alarm. IP address is the local IP address of your home center. Pass. Now here, on yours, you're going to have all these as X's here. Now you need to put this in the digest base 64 encoding. How do you get that? Simple. In the description, in the video, there's a link called base 64 URL encoding. If you click on here, you come to this page. In here, you type your username, colon, and password. So for argument's sake, this is what I've got. And then you hit the encode button. And then remove all the X's and then just copy and paste this in the space of all the X's. So it should read basic, 2 spaces, and then your password. I've blanked mine for obvious reasons. Local QA ID. Leave that blank, leave that as 116 for now, because we're going to come back and change that, because we need to add the QuickApp ID, which we haven't installed just yet. So we'll just leave that blank for now. From here, you don't need to adjust anything, so we're just going to leave that alone. We're not even going to look at it. So once you've done that, hit save for now. Go back onto scenes, and let's add the
It says push home.
Let's add the let's start with, might as well, alarm activation. So again, create a new scene, add scene, alarm activation, and if we click on there, on the condition side, copy it, paste it, and make sure you change this ID number to the ID number of the alarm panel that we created, the ID. On the other side, copy the actions and paste it into here. Push ID is the ID of the person who wants to receive a push notification. So if you want to know how to get these IDs, it's straightforward. If you click on access, and then here we are, the different IDs. So ID2, ID93, and so forth. So whoever needs notifications, that's how you get your ID numbers from here. Okay, so let me go back onto scenes and activation. So we've got 2 there. Siren ID is 85, and that, again, what we do is we go onto our devices, and from there we'll be able to get the device ID, which I'm going to show you shortly. And then email ID, again, is the person who wants to receive the email. So it's the same person as the person who receives the push notification. Leave all the other stuff, as I said on here, do not adjust. So just leave that as it is, then hit save. So that's the alarm activation completed. The alarm status update, if you click on the pencil icon again, make sure you just update the ID with the alarm value. And on these, we need to update the QuickApp ID, the push ID, and the siren ID, and then leave the rest blank as per normal. So what will happen is, when I'll talk you through that towards the end again, and then just hit save. So let's now install the QuickApp itself. To do that, you click on devices, then click on add devices, other device, and we're going to upload a file. And then in upload a file, you download, you find your alarm FQA file and hit open. And that will then install the QuickApp. So I'm not going to do that as I've already got it. So here it is, called alarm. You then click on the tab to expand it. In advance, if you want to keep it checked in history, you can do. It's up to you. I just disable it. The other place we need to make changes are in the variables. So if you click on variables, then we now need to input our sensor numbers. So you've got up to 18 sensors available. So we've got up to 12 there, and then 13 to 18 here, and then we've got the IDs here. So what we do is we need to get the IDs of the sensors. So if I go right to the top, and here are all my ID numbers, just there. So I'm going to start off with putting all my IDs of the sensors that I want to include in my alarm system. So we've got 54, 60, 66. So all we do is click on the pencil icon and update the numbers there, 54. And we do that for all the sensors. So I've got it up to sensor 7. Once you've done all your sensors, we also need the siren, so I'll just make a note of the siren number, which is 85, which is why I've already done that. So that's how I get my siren ID as well. And the QA ID is 116, as that's here. So we'll get the, we can use that ID as well. So all the sensors that you're not going to use, just populate them with the sensor, with the QA ID 116. So that's what I've done here, and I'll tell you why in a second. These S1 to S18, you can leave them alone because we're going to come to that as well. Scene ID. Scene ID is, we need to know the scene ID of the alarm partition set. So if you can click around back to scenes, and it's here. So alarm partition ID number 34. So that's what we need to input in that scene ID setting here. So that's here, and that's where I've put it. Mode, leave alone, as it will get auto-filled. Once you've added them, hit the save button. So again, like I said, to save time, I've done it all previously. Click on edit and preview, and it will show you the alarm system itself. So this is the key, this is our control panel that's available on our mobiles. So I've created 3 zones: full zone, part zone, and perimeter zone. You can then see what sensors are on, selected, and what sensors are not selected. So the tick there shows it's selected, so we can enable and disable sensors at will before deciding to set the alarm. But rather than keep doing that, we can also predefine them. So here's my full zone. Can you see that automatically? My part zone and my perimeter zone. See? Now, in order to do that for yourselves, you need to make a note of the sensors. So I would suggest getting a pen and paper, and you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth up to 18. Making a note of what you want in part, what you want in full, what you want in part, and what you want in perimeter. Once you've got the numbers, you don't need the ID numbers, you just need to know the actual number. So this is number 1, so S1, S2, S3, S4, and so forth. So let's click on edit. So we know that we've only got 7 sensors, so from 8 to 18, it's definitely going to be no's. So if we click on edit, and what we're going to do, leave all this blank, and we're just going to scroll down to here, function QuickApp full. Now, like I said before, up to 7, I wanted them to be yes. So that's why I've made sure up to 7 is yes on the full, and everything else is no. On the part, this family doesn't want, we're not going to have a part supply, but for demonstration purposes, I've just put it in to show you that I've selected up to 5, and then the rest is no's. And perimeter, again, we've selected the doors as a perimeter alarm, and everything as no. So we've got the perimeter mode as well. And that's it. And that's the only update you need to do in here. Okay. And then what you do, you then hit save. Hit close for now. So that's now set. So full mode, part mode, and perimeter mode, etc. So let's just put it back onto perimeter for now. Next, we need to just do one quick update on our scenes. Go back onto scenes, alarm partition, and QuickApp ID 116. Done. Alarm activation. Nope, we didn't need it in alarm activation. It was status update. Alarm status update. There, QuickApp ID 116. So now I'm going to talk you through what happens. Once using the QuickApp, you select the alarm type. So full, part, or perimeter. Or if you just click on the buttons, you're creating like the custom event. So it's going to be called custom. Once you hit the word set alarm, it will run this alarm partition scene. What that does is it reads what sensors you want included in your alarm. and it then it changes the alarm panel to reflect what you want. Once it does that, it will then count down its delay time. So in our case, it was 30 seconds. And then the alarm will be armed in those zones only. When that's armed, it automatically triggers the status update. And then that reads it and says, right, the alarm is armed, and therefore your push notifications come out to you to say the alarm has been set. Now, what mode has it been set? That's where the mode comes in. If you press full, it'll say alarm set to full. If you had it on part, it will say alarm set to part, perimeter, perimeter. If you've decided to hit one of those buttons to turn one of the sensors on or off, you've effectively created a custom profile. So it will then say alarm set to custom. Okay, so that's what that does. Alarm activation. It's obvious, isn't it? It's going to be that if a sensor is breached, alarm will activate the sirens, etc., send you the emails and push alerts, etc., which is what we've already set up in our little statements at the top. The on alarm and off alarm. Let's do that now. The on alarm, all that is just running the set alarm scene to run. So sometimes if you don't want to, if you know you're always going to keep it on one particular mode, like full, and you're just going to leave it on that for a couple of days, you don't really want to change it, well, rather than having to go into the app, you can just quickly click on your widget scenes, alarm on, and it will just run that alarm on that you've previously set. So it actually keeps it in memory what you've set, and then every time you just press alarm on, it runs the previously set alarm system for you. And off alarm is what you use to actually switch off the alarm. You don't need to go into the panels or the QuickApp or anything like that. You can just hit the scene shortcut widget on your phones to disarm the alarm. So that's it. Now let's do some testing. Let's go into alarm panel. So as you can see here, remember what I created. I just called it YA and I just set it to patio door for now. So now what I'm going to do is click on dashboard, click on alarm, and let's set it to perimeter. So you can see here, alarm is off. What I'm going to do, however, is I'm going to change the delay time. So let me click on scenes, alarm partition. I'm just going to put a 3-second delay time. And the reason is because we don't want to be waiting around 30 seconds. And then click on scenes again. So back to that. So we've got on our phones, we've got that set. Now I'm just going to hit set alarm. So the alarm is now being set. And then within around 3 seconds time, you've got this set here, alarm set to perimeter. So the alarm is now active and set up, which is good. Now, let's have a look if what it's actually done. So before we can actually look into...
It says push Montague. Alarm set to perimeter.
And that's the notification come to my mobile phone to say that the alarm has been set to perimeter, as that's what we've selected. So let's go on to scenes, and I'm just going to switch off the alarm. So I'm going to press that button there to switch the alarm off.
UBI it says.
And that's my alarm off announcement from my phone. Now we're going to go into alarm panel. As you can see there, that YA is automatically changed to the name I already set, which was alarm. The exit delay, which we set to number 3 seconds. And if I click on manage, you will now see that the perimeter we set the patio door, the front door, and the kitchen door, and all the other sensors are not selected. So there you have it, people. We can now auto update this every time we want to make a change. So we don't have to keep coming back onto the desktop, coming back, clicking on there, making the changes, hitting save. We can now do all this on our mobiles and make changes. Now this alarm system works on both Home Center 3 and Home Center 3 Lite. I'm afraid it's not for Home Center 2 as they don't support quick apps and these functionalities. So this particular family has a Home Center 3 Lite, and this is where I have done this work on Home Center 3 Lite. So this is a live install that I'm doing for a client right now. Rather than showing it on my own system, I've decided to put it on a client to show you. Now, all I'm going to do now is show you how you can get hold of this for yourselves. To do that, you need to go to the shop and my website, so yorkshireautomation.uk and /shop. And once you're in the shop section, I've got it. You either click on the shops or you just click on the quick app section, either, and it'll bring you up to here. Now, if you do a quick view, it shows you the picture that I showed you initially, and then it's a full set of scene files, quick app to create your own custom alarm system. And I'm going to put the YouTube here as well once it's published, so you can directly click on here as well. The cost of the quick app is £5, and this is to help me cover my hosting, but importantly the time and effort that I've spent in creating this quick app. And hopefully I'll have more quick apps to come. So I'm currently working on heating as well, so all being well, in about a week or so I would have had that finalized and tested, and I will be doing something very, very similar to allow changes, but more on that next time. But in the meantime, all you do, add to cart, view cart, do the checkout process, and it'll be an instant download for the files. And that's it. So hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, queries, comments, best thing to do is to just email me direct on info@yorkshireautomation.co.uk, or you can actually click on the contact us here. You can click on here instead and send me a message if you have any troubles in setting it up, and I will help. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you can get it all sorted for yourselves, and just give me a shout, feedback, and if you want any other further quick apps that that you want me to develop, feel free to send me a message and I'll get them sorted for you too. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.